Renowned anthropologist Margaret Mead was once asked about what she considered the first sign of civilization. She did not reply with housing facilities, farmlands, or any other source of long-term investment by Homo sapiens. Instead, she said that a healed femur, the longest bone in the human body, is the first sign of civilization. The reasoning being that at the time when eating each other for energy was a norm, few took time to take care of someone for 6 weeks. According to her, that is how the feeling of kindness, compassion, and other traits which differentiate us from animals made themselves known to Homo sapiens. But the problem is that animals inside us have not died. Yes, just like the Joker in Batman said,
"When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other."
Joker would be glad to know that his analysis was spot on. With the emergence of nihilist, anti-human, and anti-national sentiments, we are inching closer to seeing the grim reality out in the open. At least, their words definitely indicate that. One such example was the words they used to describe comedian Raju Srivastava after his death. Namaste and welcome to TFI Post. I'm your host Piyush. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the share button and press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. If you're watching us on Facebook, do like, share and subscribe to the page. Let's begin with the video report. On 21st September 2022, veteran comedian Raju Srivastava took his last breath after 41 days of hospitalization in Delhi. Tributes poured in from every quarter of the public spectrum. Most of the tributes were warm-hearted in nature and remembered Raju for his neat and clean genre of comedy. Comedian Atul Khatri was also one of them who remembered Raju as his inspiration. Moreover, more than Khatri's remembrance, it was what Rohit Joshi commented on Atul's Instagram handle, which was a cause of concern for anyone who is a good human. Rohan Joshi, a forgotten comedian but highly relevant due to his close links with Bhatt family, was not happy with Khatri's heartfelt tribute to Raju. Joshi also did not agree with Atul's assessment that Raju's death was a big loss for Indian stand-up comedy. Explicitly calling Raju's unfortunate death as happy news for Indian stand-up comedy, Joshi wrote, "We haven't lost a thing. Whether it was karma, whether it was the roast or any comic in the news, Raju Srivastava took every opportunity he got to shit on newer comics, especially after the new wave of stand-up started. He went on every news channel every time he was invited to go shit on an upcoming art form and called it offensive just because he couldn't understand it. And new stars were rising. He might have told a few good jokes, but he understood nothing but the spirit of comedy or defending someone's right to say something even if you don't agree. And good riddance." He deleted the tweet after facing backlash for it. But Joshi was not the only one. Even people from supposedly decent environments like PhD scholars too did not spare him. But is Raju Srivastava the only person whose death was celebrated? Apparently not. The list is endless. It includes few of the most decent people ever born. This breed of people did not even spare Melody Queen Lata Mangeshwar, most accepted Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and even our Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. At this point, it is worthwhile to mention that this phenomenon is not specific to India. Ever since the internet became a new town square, posthumous hate towards a person believed to be in line with a particular mindset has become a recurring theme. People who get more of such hate are known for propagating the feelings of nationalism, kindness, and other virtues that make our society stable. So why does all this happen? Well, one possible answer is that they are hated by the people who do not like their ideas and stand up at other end of the ideological spectrum. But even that answer poses a question. The question is, what's there in the new ideology that stops them from considering other humans as fellow humans? What is there that does not allow them to look at someone without an ideological lens? Is that ideology so corrupted and so out of touch with humanity that their adherents end up consciously wishing for an animalistic end of their ideological rivals? The answer to all these questions is a resounding yes with a capital Y. To fully grasp why, let's understand the mental makeup that the left ideology offers. Throughout the major part of history, people have been involved in tribal warfare for resources. But perennial slavery can't take a tribal group much further. They need to store the grains in an able and efficient manner in order to spur future growth. This is the primary reason why stealing is a crime, because it stops efficient members of the society from subscribing to it. That is how the concept of morality developed. Slowly, various forms of respect, such as worshipping known humans as well as unknown deities, took shape. The group which started to adhere to these practices witnessed itself prospering more than their rivals. Their children became thankful, and that became one of the key reasons why elders started to get posthumous respect from their successors. Slowly, the idea got ingrained into most of the code of conduct. In traditional African societies, ancestors occupied a higher position than living humans. They provided blessings as well as illness depending on how you treat them. Abrahamic religions respect their dead by preserving a special place for the dead bodies at a specific location. In Sanatan culture, the human body is burned in cremation grounds, setting the soul free, no matter how the particular human had behaved in his lifetime. They are not subjected to bad-mouthing by others for most of the history. Then arrived an ideology called Marxism. The adherents of the ideology started to expand by proclaiming that they were fighting for the underprivileged section of the society. Now, if there is a problem, you have to take both the sufferer and those who caused the problem on board. But Karl Marx probably did not believe in it. In his Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx effectively declared what he termed bourgeois as the enemy of human civilization. The acceptance of the document among university professors ended up paving the way of reopening of the conflict me versus you. Proletariat, which means the working class, was up against bourgeois for their oppressors in communist handbooks. Massive violent genocides took place during the communist regimes. Every ounce of productivity was made illegal in places such as Ukraine, Soviet Russia, and Cambodia, amongst others. So-called bourgeois were systematically eliminated by dictators without giving them any honor for their contribution. Soon the world realized their fallacy, and by the 1970s, Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Nobel Prize winner, the Gulag Archipelago, exposed the ideology. Communist university professors had to run for their money. But a lot of them became chameleons, publicly changing their stance while privately remaining hardcore Marxists. They innovated and did a philosophical sleight of hand to introduce the concept into the education system. Now, instead of the proletariat versus bourgeois, it was time for introducing anarchy in political, philosophical, and even gender divisions. By the 1980s, the former Marxists started to train students into activism which could help them achieve a Marxist utopian state. What is the utopian state? Well, it is not a state at all. It is a stateless society where people at the top of hierarchy hand out doles to those who are in lower rungs of society. The state is nowhere to be seen. There is no concept of a nation state or civilizational state made from joining the common points of various identity groups living in different geographies. To ingrain the concept of stateless society, the intellectuals are literally trying to do away with the concept of truth. Truth is the sacrosanct value, sometimes explicitly while sometimes implicitly, present in founding documents of a state. The activist students were told that truth is a method of establishing dominance by an existing identity group over the other. That is how facts are quickly disappearing from our legal system and feelings are becoming more relevant in court hearings. If the truth is not a permanent fixture, then those who propagate it are natural enemies. This explains why the children taught by these professors are so angry with any intellectual who is even remotely associated with propagation of nationalism. What these students believe is that nationalism is a tool used to suppress a particular class, caste, gender, or any other numerous identity groups they consider as oppressed. Over the period of time, anti-nationalism became a tool for these people to grab power in the nations where they are operating. Don't believe it? Then hear me out. Nationalists, especially in the 21st century, have accepted their idea of historical oppression. They have talked about giving specific upper hands to the people belonging to historically oppressed identity groups. Affirmative actions such as reservation, continuing in India for the last 7 decades, is a prime example of it. Neither did PM Atal Bihari Vajpayee vouch for removing it, nor did any other nationalist leaders. However, a lot of these did in fact talk about expanding the reservations to those people who have not been able to benefit from it. But apparently, this idea is not acceptable to those who support reservations. You want to know why? Because people who benefit from reservations become their partners in power grab attempts. Devolution of reservations will lead to intra-caste conflict, which would dethrone these people from positions of power. That is why these people hate those who talk about conflict resolution. If conflict is resolved, they won't get power, which is their ultimate goal. They do not want good virtues to come at the forefront of national consciousness. Apparently, logic, truth, and other virtues are their stated enemies. The only thing they have left is hurling abuses. If a person is being abused by a bunch of well-organized activists, then more often than not, the society develops a sense of instant dislike for the abused. The abuses continue whether that person is alive or not. It is not that they are abusing the person, they are actually abusing the underlying idea which the person's life represents. The idea of nationalism, sacrifice, cooperation, unity, family, and many more. These people are sick, and most of them live in the online world. Most of their interactions with real people is through taking parcels from delivery agents. They are less in numbers and need to be socially outcast.